With Radio Algeria International, you will not miss a single major political or economic event. Radio Algeria International, our voice in the world.
This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
Algeria has maintained its position in the World Bank Group's latest income classification as an upper-middle income country for the third consecutive year, thus reflecting its recent progress in economic growth, public investment, and sound public financial governance. The head of the Palestinian National Council, Rawhi Fattouh, has condemned the demolition by Jewish settlers of a primary school in the West Bank as a new crime to erase the Palestinian presence in the area. And the death toll from the latest Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of the Congo has risen to 625, according to a report issued by the country's health authorities. Those were the headlines and the news in detail from Radio Algeria International. First in our news, the President of the Republic, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces and Minister of National Defense, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, presided on Thursday over the annual graduation ceremony at the Houari Boumediene Military Academy in Shershel, which coincided with the celebrations marking the 64th anniversary of Algeria's independence and the recovery of national sovereignty. On the occasion, the Chief of Staff of the National People's Army General Saad Shingriha indicated that the event reflected the People's National Army's commitment to preserving the legacy of the National Liberation Army and honoring the sacrifices that secured Algeria's freedom and independence. Shingriha also stressed that the People's National Army, under the wise leadership of President Abdelmajid Tebboune, would continue its mission of safeguarding the state, recalling its decisive role in defeating terrorism and protecting the country's foundations and democratic institutions. Let's listen to Mr. Shingriha.
وعلى خطى أسلافنا الميامين يواصل بين أبناء الجيش الوطني الشعبي.
Following in the footsteps of our blessed ancestors, the sons of the People's National Army, under the wise leadership of the President of the Republic, continue their victorious march. In the recent past, they sacrificed everything to preserve the state, its republican system, and its democratic charter. After immense sacrifices, they were able to eradicate barbaric terrorism, eliminate its foreign influences, and thwart its dark projects that almost destroyed the pillars of national state, were it not for the unwavering will of our valiant army and our courageous security services.
Mr. Shingriha also pointed out that our country has become today a strong fortress and a bulwark in the face of evil schemes of its enemies, confidently and steadily forging its path towards progress and advancement.
Thanks
to these heroic deeds and sacrifices made by our men with their pure blood, our country has become today an impregnable fortress, strong and unconquerable by its enemies, confidently and steadily forging its path towards progress and advancement, and contributing effectively to building security and stability in its various military fields.
Algeria has maintained its position in the World Bank Group's latest income classification as an upper-middle income country for the third consecutive year. The ranking reflects the country's recent progress in economic growth, public investment, and sound public financial governance. According to the World Bank's 2025 classification, which assesses the gross national income, GNI, per capita of 218 economies, Algeria is one of 8 African countries in the upper middle income category, with a GNI per capita of $5,850 in 2025, up from $5,370 in 2024. Algeria, alongside Libya, is one of only 2 North African countries in the upper middle income group. In 2024, Algeria moved from the lower middle income category to the upper middle income category. At the time, the Ministry of Finance said the upgrade reflected the GDP rebasing exercise, stronger economic growth, expanded public investment, the strengthening of productive sectors, and improved public financial governance. Health Minister Mohamed Sadiq Ait Masoudan and Chad's Minister of Public Health and Prevention Abdelmajid Abdelrahim Mohamed co-chaired a video conference on Thursday to discuss ways to strengthen bilateral cooperation in the health sector. Masoud Sharafi tells us more.
The two sides reviewed plans to revive cooperation under an existing bilateral agreement and agreed to develop a roadmap focusing on training, expertise transfer, disease prevention, digital health, and improving healthcare management. They also discussed training programs for Chadian health professionals and cooperation in medical specialties, including cardiology, nephrology, obstetrics, and gynecology, addiction medicine, as well as Algeria's experience in kidney and liver transplantation. Minister Aytman Saoudan reaffirmed Algeria's readiness to share its expertise, particularly in disease prevention, epidemiological surveillance, digital health platforms, medicine supply management, and hospital partnerships. Both ministers agreed to hold regular meetings and strengthen coordination to ensure the implementation of joint health cooperation programs.
Algeria's High Commission for Digitalization has announced the official launch of the Apostille electronic platform, which simplifies the authentication of public documents for use abroad under the Hague Apostille Convention. The platform, accessible through the National Digital Services Portal, is part of the government's efforts to accelerate digital transformation and modernize public services. Shifting now to the Middle East, where the head of the Palestinian National Council, Rawhi Fattouh, has condemned the demolition of by Jawi settlers of a primary school in a locality of the West Bank as a new crime aimed at erasing any Palestinian presence in the area. Rawhi Fattouh was quoted by the news agency Wafa saying that the demolition of the school came 8 months after the inhabitants of Yaounun, south of the town of Nablus, were forcibly displaced, constituted a violation of the right to education. Mas'ud Sharfi again.
The Palestinian officials stated that the demolition of the only existing school in the locality translates the systematic character of a colonial project aimed at stripping the Palestinian land of its inhabitants and to dismantle their social fabric and to impose fait accompli, leading to the forced displacement of the population. He stressed that such events were not isolated, but were rather part of a broader strategy promoted by the Israeli government, which it accused of encouraging the expansion of settlements and acts of aggression against the Palestinian properties and educational institutions. This came as 10 Palestinians were arrested during operations carried out by the Israeli occupying forces in the areas of Tulkaram, Hebron, occupied East Jerusalem, and Nablus. In the meantime, the Israeli occupying authorities pursued their airstrikes on the Gaza Strip, killing at least 6 people. Several others were wounded in the attacks, which targeted various parts of the territory, including the refugee camp of Nusayrat in the central part of Gaza.
Meanwhile, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has set November 28 as a date for the forthcoming legislative elections. He signed a decree whereby he convened the Palestinian people in occupied Al-Quds in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip to take part in the free and direct elections to elect the members of the Palestinian National Council. It is worth recalling that the last legislative elections in the occupied Palestinian territories were held in 2006. And in Lebanon, 2 people were wounded in a drone attack carried out today by the Israeli occupying soldiers in the southern area of Nabatieh in violation of the ceasefire enforced last April. According to the news agency ANI, 2 others were wounded in the attack that targeted a vehicle between 2 localities in the governorate. And the Syrian authorities have announced the arrest of members of the cell responsible for the bombings that took place in Damascus 2 days earlier. Senior Interior Minister Anas Khattab said the identities of the cell members, their roles, and the full extent of their links would be made public once investigations are completed. 2 explosions occurred last Tuesday, near the Ministry of Tourism in Damascus, killing 1 person and injuring 36 others as Syrian internal security forces attempted to defuse 2 explosive devices discovered during field operations. And the United States and Iran have exchanged fire in defiance of the signing of a protocol agreement signed last month by the 2 belligerents. In this respect, Iran threatened to retaliate by launching new attacks on infrastructure unless the U.S. Army stopped its attacks on Iranian targets. To Africa now, where the death toll from the latest Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of the Congo has risen to 625, according to a report issued by the country's health authorities. The same sources said the country has recorded 1,792 confirmed cases, including 625 deaths. A previous report had put the toll at 1,759 confirmed cases, including 600 deaths. The World Health Organization (WHO) recently announced the launch of a clinical trial in the Democratic Republic of the Congo involving patients to evaluate potential treatments for Ebola caused by the Bundibugyo Ebola virus, for which there is currently no approved vaccine or specific treatment. According to the reports, the clinical trial has begun at the Simi-E Ebola Treatment Center in the Rwampara Health Zone of Ituri province, the main epicenter of the outbreak. And still in Africa, around 800 Sudanese living in Egypt have voluntarily returned to Sudan aboard 18 buses. The head of the Sudan Hope Committee for Voluntary Return, co-ordinated by the Sudanese news agency SUNA, said the repatriation operations would continue under an approved plan through a series of regular convoys in the coming period. Mohamed Wada said the convoys are part of the second phase of the voluntary return program, which aims to deploy 100 buses to bring back 5,000 Sudanese from Egypt. Last week, 1,174 Sudanese also returned voluntarily from Egypt as part of efforts to repatriate nationals wishing to return home from countries where they had sought refuge. By the end of 2025, nearly 428,676 people had voluntarily returned to Sudan, according to figures previously released by the Sudanese authorities. The conflict between the Sudanese army and the Rapid Support Forces (RSF) has killed tens of thousands of people and triggered one of the world's worst humanitarian crises, according to the United Nations. And with this last piece of news, we come to the end of this news bulletin. We leave you now with our weekly programs with our colleague Jamal Salmani with a program on culture. It will be followed by another program by our colleague also Mariam Bershi on Kasbah. With this, we come to the end of it. As I said before, we'll meet again tomorrow for a fresh edition of our news bulletin. Until then, stay tuned to Radio Algeria International, and bye-bye for now.
مسافر حب يشوف زين الطبيعة والمنظر مدينة داير.
Welcome to your weekly program, Destination Algeria. I'm Jamal Salmani. There are a number of great destinations in Algeria just waiting to be discovered. A curious mixture of cultures and influences. Algeria has something interesting to see in just about every city. The country is also the first largest on the African continent, so you can be sure that there are plenty of towns and cities to visit. Let's visit Algeria's fascinating destinations, you and I, together. There are a number of delightful little towns in Algeria that are well worth visiting. One of the lovely coastal towns you might want to know more about is that of Delis. The rich and fascinating history of Delis in Algeria can be traced back all the way to Roman times. In fact, it can still be seen in the form of a 2nd century Roman ruin that is found near the northern entrance of the old city. Many of the other Roman artifacts found in Delis were taken to other countries and displayed in museums many years ago. Even in Roman times, Delis quickly became a powerful and influential city. It is thought that this original city was destroyed by either an earthquake or an invasion. Either way, the city was then rebuilt by the Arabs who moved to the region for political reasons. During this time, it was called Tidlis. Many centuries later, it was taken over by the Turks and became a part of the Ottoman Empire. During this time, there were many different tribes and peoples living in Tidlis, and the city continues to prosper. According to Juan Battista Montalbano, an 18th century Italian philologist, Tidlis was a very prosperous port that was home to a number of rich families. He attributed this wealth mainly to the area's wool and flax dyeing resources. The city went on to become a popular holiday city, with many entertainment and sporting facilities being built. After many years of sovereign rule, Algeria finally took control of its own cities and towns, and so Tidlis finally became a truly Algerian city. Today, Tidlis in Algeria is filled with interesting ruins, relics and artifacts. Its diverse history has given it great appeal, while its striking coastal setting and colorful sunsets just cannot be ignored. The Ottoman-era Kasbah is a popular attraction, while the two colonial-era lighthouses continue to stand tall, indicating to ships where they should sail in order to safely make berth at the small port. Farming and fishing continue to be prominent activities here, and there is a distinctly industrious but relaxed feeling in the city. If you feel you'd like to see this town, you'll discover it to be a rich treasure trove of lovely sights.
غريب مسافر حب يشوف زين الطبيعة والمنظر مدينة داير.
Hello and welcome on Radio Algeria International. This is our second part of your program, Destination Algeria. Looking for something interesting to do while you're visiting Algeria? You might find that a trip to Wad El Abyad will amaze and excite you. This great topographical attraction boggles the mind and gives you an immense appreciation for the wonders of nature. Wad El Abyad in Algeria might easily be called the Gorges in English. These incredible natural wonders were beautifully carved out of the soft Oras mountains by seasonal rivers over the course of millions of years. Each portion of the gorges is unique and inspiring, and it is worth exploring all aspects of them to get the full impression of this great natural attraction. Visitors to Wad El Abyad will usually approach via National 3 or National 31, depending on whether they are arriving from the north or south of the country. Many visitors will simply pass by without even realizing that such a great natural wonder lies close by. If you are planning to pass through the area between Betna and Biskra, make sure you take your time and try to avoid public transport, which will overshoot the area, resulting in you missing out on this great attraction in Algeria. Most visitors start their exploration of Wad El Abyad in the village of Roufi, which is the easiest place from which to reach the gorge of Tiranimim. Roufi is located about 90 kilometers from Betna and has a reputation for busy vendors enthusiastically trading goat hair carpets. However, far from impressive is the Roufi balcony, from where you can gain your first glimpse at the impressive Wad El Abyad gorges you will be exploring from high above. After venturing through the village and setting out for the gorges, you will find the walk on foot very pleasant, as a palm-sided river bed accompanies you on your trek. Steep hillsides and the little river keep you cool even in summer. Little villages do the route and can be explored as you make your way along. If you travel in a southerly direction, you should reach the Benyan Oasis by lunchtime and the beautiful Mshumish Oasis by the end of the day. You can choose how long you want to spend walking Wadi al-Abyad in Algeria, but if you walk the whole way, it will take you 3 to 4 days. Visitors should keep in mind that the area is fairly rural and there isn't much in the way of accommodation, although you should find nice enough facilities at some of the bigger pit stops along the way. For that reason, you should take your own camping equipment, food and bedding, although you shouldn't have to carry too much, as supplies can usually be purchased along the way.
زينة 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 أرض بلادي زينة 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 أرض جدادي أحباب الطفل جزرنا زرنا أرض بلادي أحباب الطفل جزرنا زرنا أرض جدادي.
The Rais Palace, also known as Bastion 23, which is located in the lower part of the old city of Algiers, or Kasbah, is an Algerian architectural jewel built during the Ottoman era in the 18th century, precisely in 1576 AD, by Deyramden Pasha. The palace, which consisted of 3 palaces and 6 houses, was meant to strengthen and reinforce the defenses and maritime protection of the city. The name of Bastion 23 was given to the palace following the construction of the ramparts during the then French colonial rule. Archaeologist Kahina Muhus gives us a glimpse of the history of Bastion 23.
Well, we can date back the order of construction of the Bastion 23 to 1576, when a defensive battery was commissioned by Mami Arnott to Ramatan Pasha. Its expansion was recorded from 1750. It was purchased by Qara Mustafa in 1797, then by Day Mustafa a year later. Finally, in the 1800s, the palaces 23 and 17 were built.
The architecture of Bastion 23 is unique. The ceilings are made from cedar or cedar logs, which are resistant to damp and termites, and other wood-based ceilings decorated and carved with geometric and floral motifs in polychrome, as well as rigid ceilings in hallways, kitchens and bathrooms. The dining room is located in Palace 18, with windows overlooking the sea, niches on the walls lined with earthenware tiles, and a decorative shelf. This room also has niches for oil lamps. You can find Skrifa, which is a reception area separating the inside from the outside to maintain the privacy of the harem. The latter has 3 entrances, the first leading to the stable below, the second to a small room used as a fireplace, and the last opening onto the patio with slight benches. Archaeologist Kahina Muhus has more on the fascinating architecture of Bastion 23.
The architecture of the Bastion 23 is really wealthy, and that back from the Roman era. We had mosaics depicting fish skull and a Roman bath. It was dated from the 2nd and 3rd century. During the Islamic era, we had a lot of architectural elements. For example, we have ceilings which were made from cedar wood, decorated with geometric and floral polychromes. Arches which were made from marble or tuff, ceramic stills known as zillage, either locally made or imported from Italy and Tunisia.
Bastion 23 bears witness to the economic, social and urban progress of the city of Algiers since 1600. The palace served as a political center as well as a home for Algeria's ruling family. This historic monument is a settlement with several rows including defense, with its ammunition depot, and a middle-class district with the beauty of its street source, in addition to the modest fishermen's dwellings. According to the archaeologist Kahina Mahfous, the importance of the Bastion 23 is defined by the various roles it played throughout history.
Rather than the signification, I would say the importance, and it was defined through the various roles it had played in the past. Firstly, a defensive structure with a location chosen to protect Algiers. Then, with years and time, it became a residential area where we can distinguish various social classes thanks to the different types of housing.
The palace was completely restored between 1986 and 1992 and was included in the UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1992 as part of the Casbah of Algiers. Bastion 23 is one of the capital's historic monuments that must be visited by foreign tourists and lovers of history, culture and architectural beauty alike.
تشاهدون برامج إذاعة الجزائر الدولية بالصوت والصورة عبر تقنية لايف ستريم على صفحات التواصل الاجتماعي فيسبوك، تويتر وقناة اليوتيوب لإذاعة الجزائر الدولية. لمزيد من الأخبار تابعوا radioalgerie.dz/Radio Algérie International.
إذاعة الجزائر الدولية، صوتنا في العالم.